What's up, everybody? Good evening, and welcome back to another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. You know who I am. Joined as always by Zoe, Brent, and Sideshow. Brent, what is that?
This is a little tub of Vegemite.
Vegemite. Yeah, I know Vegemite.
Why?
You ever had it?
You
want to try it?
I've never had it before.
You never had it?
I don't know what it's like.
But you have a British
it's-
equivalent. You never had Marmite.
Yes,
Are you gonna eat
but
that here?
I haven't
Oh,
eaten
God.
that for a long time.
Why are we doing this?
Well. What does it taste?
It's-
Why you stir?
It's amazing. Yeah, you don't need to stir it, honestly. That's a lot.
Oh
You usually
my God.
put that on something.
No.
Oh, okay. That's quite a bit. It's an intense flavor,
Oh my
but it's delicious.
God. Okay, yeah. You should know not to take any.
I love
you
it.
Know,
I
you
love
should
it.
know not to take anything that
I think
Brent
this was,
feeds
I think
you.
this was
should
the
just
face
say
the
that.
Gladiators coaches were making earlier as well. Watch their game. Whoa! How did that
We're
happen?
off to a good start here on the post show. Goodness gracious. All right, well, guys, let's talk some Overwatch. Starting off with the Atlanta Reign, who coming into today, we're up 2-0 at the half. These guys trying to capitalize on the momentum from our Atlanta Bud Light homestand, going for 3 in a row against the powerful, crystal-less Hangzhou Spark. And let me tell you, the Atlanta Reign, they did work today. Very impressive showing from them.
They really did. And Erster, he pulled his weight and then some. He did exactly what I expected him to do, and that popping off. It was fantastic to see Atlanta Reign looking so dominant. This is the first time we saw them in this 2-2-2 lock meta. And yeah, so far, I really don't have too many complaints. I do like what I'm seeing from Poco and now Orisa as well. So overall, it looked pretty darn cohesive, actually.
But you run Gushwei and Bebe the entire game of your Hangzhou Spark. You get the map win here on King's Row. Spoiler alert, it happens.
With Bazzi playing really well
With
as
Bazzi
well.
playing really well
Yeah.
on top of that. And then we move over to map 4. You'll see in a moment. But they switch it up completely. Like Route 66 here, you see the subs they're going to be making. You can see they're now running Adora coming back in, Nosemight, we haven't seen him in a while,
Revenge.
and Revenge. And suddenly they get full health on the first point, on point 8. And I got to be wondering as well, what was going through their minds when they were making these swaps?
Yeah, it
Because
doesn't make sense to me.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I think they should be sticking with Gushwei no matter what. They've had so much success with him previously as well. He should be using the game time that he's given to start excelling at Orisa and Wrecking Ball as well. And Bazzi should always be in this lineup, especially if you're going to play a bunch of Widowmaker. His Widowmaker's too good to be sat on the bench. And then why are you playing a flex support that you've never played before? I don't really understand what the Spark are going through, but I think it just shows they don't really have
At the end of the day,
grasp of the meta.
Very good showing from Atlanta Reign.
Yes.
You know, I think we can now say that this is a team that's trying to cement their spot in the top. I was trying to pick my words, Zoe. I can see you smoking.
Well, coming into today, they were number 13 overall in the standings, right on the borderline. So now they've jumped to 11. And, you know, this is good momentum for them, essentially.
Yeah, if they keep this going, I mean, again, the world's their oyster.
And the rest of the schedule looks very doable as well.
Yeah, and Spark, that's what I was going to say. Spark was one of the hardest games that they had, assuming that Spark would perform like they did in Stage 3. But it looks like they've slipped a little bit. But it still bodes well for Atlanta moving forward.
The Spark missing Crystal, was this like, could you attribute part of this loss to them not having Crystal here for them today?
I think
I would
it
think
might
so.
just be fear-inducing to get a
Grave
grave kind
warning.
of grave
A grave
warning on your
Great
team.
warning.
could happen to anyone at
Yeah,
this
maybe
point.
the rest of their team are panicking a little bit.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Like,
shook
That's
now.
right.
if we don't play very well, we'll get grave warnings.
That doesn't spark joy. The spark,
does.
the sparker shooketh. All right, well, let's keep it moving, guys. Another match that went down today. We had the LA Gladiators going up against the Houston Outlaws. Now, the Gladiators earlier this week took down the NYXL, handing them their third loss of the regular season. The Houston Outlaws, they lost to the Paris Eternal. So coming into this game, many people were saying that it was, favoring the Gladiators. Didn't pan out that way, though. The Houston Outlaws looked great today.
It was looking like this would be a very one-sided affair for the Gladiators in terms of their victory, but not the case. I think this is a contribution of, there's two factors in my mind. Los Angeles Gladiators really, again, as Zoe was talking about before, refusing to kind of adapt on the fly to what Houston were chucking at them. And secondly, as well, Houston have stepped up a lot of their Orisa gameplay. Their coordination seems a bit better compared to when they were playing against Paris. They were struggling a lot against their competition, so they've definitely stepped it up. And funnily enough as well, in classic Houston style, I believe it was Dante who said at the end that he wasn't even supposed to play in the majority of these maps.
He wasn't supposed to play on Hanamura, and then they realized that the Sombra was working so well that they then played him on Havana as well.
I love it.
I mean, that just shows to me as well that even though we didn't expect the Outlaws to win, neither did the Outlaws, particularly. I think they're really testing things, and I don't mean that as shade to the Outlaws as well.
Yeah.
They're very good at finding out what are good compositions early on in a meta, and they need these wins early on because teams tend to catch up to them and overtake them later on once everybody starts figuring it out. But they are a very good team at being the heralds of what's good at a specific point in time.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the best players in the world or the best cohesion, but they're very smart, intelligent players, and they play quite instinctively, and they have a good feel for what is a good comp.
Very quick-witted. It seems like they're always able to improvise on the fly when it's crunch time. They can make a decision and turn a game around.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that a lot of teams will be looking at how Houston play and starting to copy, but also perfect what Houston are running.
I think there's a lot to take away for the Gladiators, though, after this match. After their first showing here on stage in this new meta, has been looking very solid. Actually, there weren't so many complaints, really, except from maybe a slight lack of adaptation. But today, it looked very, very chaotic. And yeah, I very much hope to not see any of that again.
Well, they're going to be having a stern talking to with DP, I can guarantee you.
For
that.
sure.
Gravely warned, I'm sure.
You can't just use that for every team in the league.
Gravely.
It does work. It does actually work quite well for everything.
In terms of individual performances, I think this card shows it well. Dante and Muma, the two players that I really thought stepped up. Dante always has excellent performances, and that Sombra he can really use to shut down almost anybody on the opposing team. But Muma's a bit more of an inconsistent player, and he really hit a peak today that helped carry the Outlaws through it.
Despite being very focused from the Gladiators, I do think they put a lot of resources into killing him, and he did end up, when he did play the Orisa, with a lot of deaths to his name. However, so many Orisas being on him that allowed his team to, go off and kill the complete enemy line. So that worked for them.
Indeed. Well, both of those teams, they end the week at 1-1. And you know what's crazy? Houston, they still had a very dangerous Linkser in their back pocket for any other situation. So Houston looking good this stage so far. But guys, coming up after the break, we'll get our first look at some new players on the Guangzhou Charge. Don't go anywhere. More Watchpoint when we get back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
I don't want to play a full map with Space Genji, okay?
What are you talking? Wait,
I-
put me on Widow, Shax go Hanzo, it's a wrap, bro.
Yeah.
I'll make Soon go mental boom. Retire this kid real quick.
I watched your Genji clip, and you said, hey, I think that's the first time I've ever got a 3K with Blade. Dude, I know those feels.
Oh man, no love for that Genji. Space is Genji, man. None at all. None at all. He was sitting in the wrong chair anyway. Like,
I loved I love Custer's little expression as that was going on. He's just got a little smirk on his face, and he's chuckling.
But that's
A man with not a lot on his mind.
No, that's the smirk of a man that knows he's going to place 4,600 on support and 2K on DPS.
I don't know how you can throw that kind of shade at him.
Oh,
When
man.
you placed in almost in silver actually
No,
on your DPS.
absolutely not true, but
Very true.
Let's,
so let's talk about
the
the match.
game.
Yeah, let's talk about the match, guys. So LA Valiant, their first game of the stage, and they look very strong against the Paris Eternal. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I would say that they absolutely demolished in the first half,
Yeah.
and then somewhat went wrong in the second half. Yeah, it was a little strange. I thought the Valiant were going to throw this one away, and maybe not so much that, but Paris were perhaps going to clutch. Because as we went into the second half, the part that we didn't cover at the halftime, Paris almost completed a reverse sweep, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, we went to
see.
map 5 here. We went to map 5. What was different? Was it just the way the Valiant were playing? Were they less aggressive?
I think-
Did Paris adjust?
I think Valiant didn't really do much different. I do think that Paris Eternal had slight adjustments. I think they took better care when they got flanked, which has been happening a lot. Space has been very much up in their backlines for the majority of the first half, and I do think they made some positioning adjustments to actually prevent Cruz and Gray from dying an awful lot.
Well, it definitely helps as well when Soon is playing out of his mind.
Oh, he went nuts.
I mean, the guy,
that's
it was
always
like he was
helping.
possessed. He was like, I'm against my enemy team. They dropped me. They will die before my hands. and that was the only thing on his mind. He was, again, you put these heroes that you just have to, he just has to focus on one thing and one thing alone, and that's being mechanically skilled and clicking on heads. And he just excels at it. I mean, look at these clips. Pretty much half the clips we pulled from this match have been him just absolutely demolishing.
Yeah, I will say as well, it looked like a little bit of nerves here from the Valiant team. Once they realized that their backs were against the wall, they ended up getting rolled in time bank. I mean, it went all the way through to a second completion. And that, I think, was nerves from Shax in particular. He didn't have the greatest performances, had flashes of what we expect from him, but overall not a great performance on that map.
And going back into Busan for the tiebreaker, the LA Valiant were able to stabilize there, but man, they stretched it to the very end.
They really did. But one particular person I do want to call out, and he's on the board right there, that's Space's Diva. I think he had an absolutely fantastic game. He was peeling front and back. He was setting a lot of great ults up. And just generally his awareness in this very game was very, very impressive. That's someone which you can just tell that he has a lot of experience. And it really just showed today.
The only thing I'll add to that is Space is cracked.
He's cracked.
Cracked.
Cracked,
What
man.
does that mean? I don't understand your language.
It's like Zoomer speak.
He's really
Okay,
good.
Is that a good thing?
He's
or a
really
bad
good.
Thing?
Yeah, he's like playing out of his mind.
Why
He's
is
playing
being
out his
cracked
mind.
a good thing?
I don't know. Don't ask me, ask the kids.
Well, Bryn, you
practice broken. That's not good.
But the most important point here is this Widowmaker matchup, right?
Yes.
Because despite Soon's overwhelming performance over Shax in a lot of categories here, you can see he still ended up losing. Now, I mean, what do you pin that down to? I think, for one, you have to think of the nature of Overwatch as a team game. We saw performances like this all the time from Sire Player last year. Florida Mayhem, one of the worst teams in our franchise history. So it's, one player's performance doesn't really make a difference. Now, Widowmaker's pretty good at that. You can see it statistically. Soon is setting up. But again, Zoe, you pointed this out in the pre-show. Soon was getting the first pick about 16% of the time, but his team would only win the team fights roughly around 60% of the time, opposed to a lot of other teams. And this, again, it kind of like showcases something's missing here, in terms of following up off of these picks that Soon is getting. Now, there's a lot of issues with Paris Eternal. I think they fixed up a few of them, and they're looking like they are improving. Because I don't want to throw too much shade on that team, because it looks like they are improving.
Yeah.
Technically, still in the running for that 12th place to play in tournaments. So I think if they can still make improvements in terms of their team play, they do stand a very reasonable chance of making it into that top 12.
Right. I mean, I will say it was interesting seeing Soon pop off so hardcore with them getting no victory. I do wonder, though, I'm going to pose this question to you guys before we move on. Like, is this something they should be panicking about? if their star player is playing very well and they're not getting a W?
I don't personally think so because I think it was slightly different this time around. I think Soon just came online a little too late.
Too late,
He
yeah.
came online really heavily in the second half of the series, but when you're already down 0-2, there's no room for mistakes. And then a tiny error in the third map, the third stage of the third map, and they end up losing the overall series and not completing that reverse sweep.
Yeah.
But if the team had been able to come online and Soon as well in map 1 or map 2, particularly in map 2, where you're not playing control and you can play much more Widow, then perhaps that would have pushed them over the edge. But, I mean, do you really want to be in a position where Soon has to go wild every time for you
Exactly.
to win?
You don't want to exhaust the man, you know? All right, well, moving along, we had one more match that we got to talk about. That was the Boston Uprising going up against the Guangzhou Charge. Now, the Charge have been looking insane as of late. They ended stage 3 on fire, and they're starting this stage off on fire as well, beating Philly earlier this week. And then coming in here up against the Uprising. The Uprising, this is their first game of the stage, so they're just trying to find any momentum they can. But the Chargers look super good.
That was a rough start to the season, I would say, or rather to the stage. Yeah, they didn't get anything done really. That was 2 complete sweeps with 100% to 0. Boston Uprising didn't even get to engage properly. I think overall they ended this entire control map with 7 fractional kills. Not an awful lot.
I have a personal theory as to
Here it
Boston
goes.
woes right now in its current state. Now we know that Fusion's the main spokesperson for this team, I guess, in a way. I guess the main caller.
Spiritual leader.
You're right, but when we were in this meta last year with Orisa being played and supports tend to be on Mercy and whatnot, what you'd see teams tending to do is they'd split their main calling up from the main tank and also into the backline, so the supports would also have some say in regards to that. Now, as far as I'm aware, Persia doesn't speak great English.
Yeah.
Helix is usually quite quiet. So I do wonder if, one of the things that I'm looking at here is there's a lack of coordination in a lot of the ways they play. I do wonder how much that has to do with it as well, because Fusion's, it's very easy to carry the main calling when we're in the Ghost meta game, when you're in the front lines and the whole team is surrounding you and you can see everything that's going on. It's a little bit different now.
I know that Blase was taking over that leadership role for them recently, but I do agree with you. I think the question has to be asked as well, where is Jeff? Aim God, where is he?
Good question.
He's in Irvine, mate.
Yeah, not Jeff. Jeff Aim God. I wanna see or at least hear from the team why Persia's being played so much. It's not that Persia's terrible. His Zen doesn't look so good, but his Ana's okay. It's more just Aim God. It was legitimately a top 4 flex support last season, and so you've got a very talented player there who does speak English better than Persia does, as far as I'm aware. And your team's still making swaps and bringing in new players. It just says to me that Boston are not in a good place internally.
You think they're not in a good place when they're losing against Fraggy Bishu, Only Wish and Rights? Could you really make that statement?
Oh man, I mean the fact that Only Wish came in, I view as the ultimate disrespect.
Yeah.
It was fantastic to see them back on stage, though. I genuinely enjoyed that. That got me hyped, even though, it's one of those scenarios where, like, 4th map doesn't, quote-unquote, mean that much anymore. But then when the team is rolling out that squad, I'm like, oh, no, this is going to be great.
Yeah,
Love it already.
I did feel a little bit bad for the Uprising, though. Getting cooked by the secondary squad is that's pretty tough right there. That's pretty tough right there, I have to say. Real quick. Guangzhou, should we start considering them a top 5 team this stage so far with the way they're playing?
I think they can.
Is it too early, though?
It is still very early, but I think they definitely have a lot of potential.
Too early, though?
Yes.
I mean, they
halfway through the first
one.
Stage 3 at the end of it, they were going toe-to-toe and they beat Shanghai Dragons, the winners of Stage 3.
Yes, but Shanghai Dragons have come out and not had the most fantastic performances as well. So clearly the success in Stage 3 doesn't necessarily translate to stats.
I like that. He was testing you, man. That's funny. All right, well, guys, it was a big win for the Charge, but one of the best moments inside the arena was the return of Fraggy and Bishu. And after the match, we got a chance to hear what it felt like for them to be back on the stage.
Everybody, give it up for Bishu and Fraggy! Woo! Amazing job. Bishu, this was your first time playing on stage as part of the Guangzhou Charge. And, moving from Gladiators to Guangzhou Charge, how has that transition been for you and how is the adjustment going?
I mean, I think the adjustment has been pretty smooth so far. I never really had an opportunity to play during Season 2, so this was like a really big moment for me. And, I'm really grateful to Guangzhou for giving me this opportunity. And I think this goes to Fraggy as well, but we were on the bench for so long, just getting that motivation to play. So this was so much for us.
How does it feel to be back on stage playing Overwatch in front of all of your fans?
So yeah, I'm free, I guess.
Thank you guys so much!
Ah, man, so good to see those guys back. I can't help but
This was
smile when I see them
fantastic.
smile. Right?
Yeah, it's really hard. Bishu is such an emotional cheerleader. Like, I feel cheered on. Yeah, not even in his team,
But
but
it's so good as well to just see Fraggy being played.
Yeah.
right? Because
for sure.
I mean, when we were coming up in the scene, me and Josh, I don't want to speak too much for you, Josh, but I mean, we came up in the
Don't
same
ever
time.
speak for me.
Admittedly, again, I might be better at my job than you, but we won't code.
Okay.
But
there
these guys, we watched Fraggy come up in the scene in the Overwatch scene. He was a staple, you know. He was almost a cornerstone of it.
Yeah, he
and to
was.
see him
Invented Reinhardt.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, he invented the wacky style that we see Bumper playing today.
Sure.
You know, he was known for his charges. But it's so
free.
good to see him back in, you know.
And I don't think
free.
any one of us would have expected that, considering the meta being what it is right now and knowing that Fraggy is quite a Reinhardt specialist.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have expected them to, field him anytime soon. So having him on stage in the first week already, being with that team, that's amazing.
I want to add as well. I mean, he posted a tweet longer on his Twitter saying what he was coping with at the time when he was on the bench for the Philadelphia Fusions, and this has really torn him. Actually, he was deciding whether he should retire and go into coaching or whether he wanted to continue to play.
Yeah.
And he made the decision to go to Guangzhou Charge, and not knowing if he'd have the opportunity to play again. So getting that win on the stage there, just sealing the deal to 4-0,
Right.
that must mean a huge amount to them as well.
Right. Right, we can make all the jokes about, Boston getting cooked by the secondary squad and yada, yada, but those are good players that were playing.
Yeah.
That was a
Absolutely.
solid squad that was on stage.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't really see to play a bit of a dampener to this this party as well.
I'm trying to create a fairy tale here.
I know,
Someone else stomping on
but
it.
I've got to be realistic for a
ahead.
moment though, because I don't really see Fraggy and Bishu ever making it to the main squad of the Guangzhou Charge with
Right.
how Rhea and Hotba are playing.
Yeah, understood.
It seems like they're much more comfortable in this meta. Like Rio's got a very good Wrecking Ball and a pretty good Orisa, and then also can play the Ryan and the Winston. Well, Fraggy seems like he's just getting into those roles. So
Right.
I
there's
think they're
a-
very good substitutes, but I can't
Yeah.
really see them
It-
field it.
Go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to be double mean but positive. I don't know how that works out,
is that?
so let's go.
What does
And then
that
what does that mean?
What is that?
I just wanted to say there's a lot of teams in this league and a lot of map force to be played. So if Guangzhou Charge turns it up in the first three, then I think Bishu and Fraggy can always come in for the fourth and clean up, and that's how they get playtime.
Yo,
Couldn't be happier.
I'm with you. I support Overwatch League teams having depth. Depth is important. I believe that. All right, guys. Well, that was definitely one of the best moments of the day, but it didn't make our most over-the-top moments. We'll count down the best of today after the break. Don't go anywhere. More Watchpoint coming up.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Whew, that song gets me so pumped. I love that song.
Good.
Somebody's
Fantastic.
birthday.
help
So on the
but
count
sing
of 3, I'm
All
going
right,
to
guys,
want the
time for our
entire
overtime moments of the
audience.
day. Starting with Jake, getting an early birthday present here at the Blizzard Arena. Everybody sang happy birthday to him. Kind
Still
of.
behind us, signing
man.
away.
I actually love this, and this was only the first of 2 times that we horrifically embarrassed a player today after getting Dogman to flex at the end.
You know,
What was
and people hate it when they get the happy birthday from their family of 5. So having an entire arena sing it for you to embarrass you, it's got to be so much better.
Moving on, the Halt plus the happy Hanzo Dragon Strike. This was great. This was a great combo. This reminded me of the grand finals last year where we saw from Profit and Fury.
Rio
Right
is
there.
steadily
Or Jester,
making his
rather.
name as one of the better Arissas in the league in terms
Yes.
of coordinating a lot of these holds up. And I think this is part of what makes a really potent team right now that we're currently seeing. I still stand by that fact. Wrecking Ball, I think, is going to play a bit more of a play, but overall, Guangzhou on the rise.
Up next, your boy Colorhex Brand doing his thing with some direct hitting on Farah. Ooh, just completely tore Chara up.
I mean, he had a bunch of actually really nice moments on that Farah. Again, unfortunately, didn't receive enough support to do more on her, not enough space. But what we did see leaves us very hopeful for the next 2 games.
Give it
All
the
right,
veggie
up
bite.
next, the Paris Eternal, the combo of Soon and Gray showing what they can do, both on their respective snipers.
Ooh, this is pretty sweet. Pretty clean, pretty clean.
Gray has a lot of these moments.
Okay, I don't know what's happening.
It's a little
Press.
vigil, you know, for Soon, because he left and
Look at
betrayed the Valiant.
I
joined his
spoke to
fun
them. I spoke to them just before we went.
Yo, this is a
Something
business.
I can't repeat.
It's all about the money. Up next, we talked about it earlier. Frag and Bishu back on the stage. All the feels. Oh, man, all the good vibes seeing these two back in the game.
And he almost stole the mic too.
Yeah.
He tried.
What's more impressive as well about them coming in is every time this has been done in the past, the teams have been swept and absolutely rolled. So the fact that they didn't crumble and they actually managed to close out the series and win it is very impressive.
Gotta give him props. Gotta give him props. Also, Fraggy said he's free. I don't know if he knows, but like in some competitive games, being free is not a good thing. It's not a good thing being free. It means like you're bad at the game. You're a free win, a free victory. You guys ever heard that?
Yeah.
Fun game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, NA is free.
Yeah.
The region is
Whoa!
The whole region. Yeah.
Whoa!
There it goes.
double sword as well because Americans they can't come back at you for that.
No, because they
America
love
is the land of free.
The land of the free.
But they're also
Exactly.
free whenever you play in competitive games.
It's true.
You guys, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do this here. With the new 2-2-2 meta, we're seeing some heroes we haven't seen in a little while, and it seems like there's been a bit of an adjustment period for players too. So, Josh, what did you see today?
Well, I got another episode of Custer's favorite segment ever. It's, I hate to see it. I hate to see it. We've got a bunch of people playing Tracer today, and boy, oh boy, people have not quite figured it out yet, it seems. Or actually,
What?
well,
Who? You said Tracer? Who was that?
Tracer. It's the one with the sticky bomb that like sticks to people and then explodes and she can like zip
forgot.
around the map
It's
and
been a
stuff like that. All right, anyway, let's get into it. You hate to see it. This first one is a clip from the Paris Eternal Valiant game where, as you can see, the time, it's ticking down. But what is this? 5 rounds. So the pressure is on LA Valiant and Shaq's here. So let's see what happens. Shaq's building up to his pulse bomb. He's got an opportunity. Goes in. A stick on Gray, on Cruz. Gets the recall, but Cruz. What an unbelievable outplay. I actually love to see this one. But for Shax, for sure, it's a hate to see it. You always tend to get the recall after the pulse bomb stick, but this one doesn't work. This one from Surefour, though, is amazing. The guy blinks around and if I had to get you to guess what happens next, Brett,
Sure.
but you've already seen it.
I haven't.
But there's no way that you would anticipate this. He recalls, hits the very tiny little portion of the map.
Oh,
So
goodness.
let's look at this. Like, how does he even go off the map at this point? He goes over the top. And at this slight little moment that he jumps over there, he's
That's
like,
brutal.
for
And
like
he's
half a second, he's outside
Still
the map.
trying to call himself a top DPS player, huh? Still calling himself.
Don't mess with him. This is so unlucky. So unlucky. I mean, see how close he is to the edge of the map here. Look at this
And he
corner.
still had the present of
That's
mind to
brutal.
emote when he fell down.
Yeah, well, you know,
Still giving it away.
even
There we
then,
go.
he knows you hate to see it.
Oh, man. Yeah, and here Surefour tweeting about it. I rewinded off the map there at the end, LMAO. I think it's rewound. It's
Yeah.
definitely rewound, not rewind.
It's rewound, yeah.
Yeah,
full
yeah.
grammar.
It's recalled anyway, so
Yeah.
he's
He's
just
a
got-
gamer. He's not a
The
wordsmith.
best DPS player. He should. I mean, yeah, best DPS player, not best speller.
Yeah, yeah. All aim, no brain. That's how it works.
I love it. Well, guys, we're not done yet. Coming up after the break, we'll break down what you should be watching out for tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. More Watchpoint in just a second.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Sinatra entitlement have controlled the point. Here it is. Flame's going to drop in. There was no Trish open to save them. It's 4. Yep. Flanner knew where he had to be, and Trick Open looks around with dismay. You can't be everywhere at once, but someone had to stop the barrage with a nano boost. It was never going to happen. For a big fight.
Yeah, looking for the shot. Misses on the Violet. An absolutely crucial pick if he can find it. Full hog from Young Jim, though. Will just take down Rascal. Now pushes up, looks for Super. And they will be able to find that pick. Young Jim's going to be pulled in. Wraps around. He does the 180 hook on the block.
It's always good.
It's all like we just saw. Valiant wasting no time and jumping right back in there for the aggression. Great move on the Goose Wave. Send into the team, but they've got the grab. Oh, man, we've seen that one before. And that is going to be a 4K with the Dragon Strike.
With so much fighting close up. Oh, are you kidding me? An amplification matrix already, and here comes San Francisco. What a shatter! Oh, they don't call the shock for nothing, Matt.
Come in at the last moment. Lupi lining it up. Coma on the Moira now. Here comes DM.
EMP.
The EMP could be the difference maker. Gets it off. And there's the ding with the barrage. EMP barrage will deliver.
Welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. As we look ahead to tomorrow, it all kicks off with the Shanghai Dragons going up against the Seoul Dynasty. The London Spitfire look to stay hot, and they're going to be taking on the Toronto Defiant. We also got the Vancouver Titans going up against the Florida Mayhem, kicking off their stage 4. And then the Boston Uprising will try to avenge today's loss up against the Chengdu Hunters. So there's a lot in store for tomorrow, but what's got you guys the most fired up about our Sunday?
The only team we haven't seen yet is the Florida Mayhem. And I'm kind of interested about them because they've got Sire player who can play a really good Widowmaker. And then they've also got this trio of new players, Carrion, Gargoyle, and DPI, who might be fielded finally together. They came from the same team. They might be fielded together. And I think that'll give a whole new feel to the Florida Mayhem. So it'll be really interesting to see all these players just get absolutely rolled in the new meta as well.
I was about to say, he asked what you're fired up to see, not what you're mildly interested to see.
Oh, I'm very, very mildly interested in seeing the
Nice.
Well, I was going to say, that's the part of the reason why I'm into it, is it's either going to be one of the fastest games of all time, or it's going to be pretty,
Interesting.
back and forth.
Wow. Wow, guys. All right, straight up. I'm actually interested to see Sire player do his thing.
I know.
He
We
popped
haven't
off
seen Sire
last
play
year. Remember that crazy 4K he had at Route 66?
So good. And
I
they
love
still lost the map.
You're right. But Sire player is an individual talent.
He is.
That is worth
Sire
watching,
plays nuts,
bro.
actually. I don't want to throw shade at that guy.
And all the new players. Definitely interested to see them. But guys, let's check out the Twitch cheer leaderboard. Let's see who people have been cheering for. I would imagine that the Atlanta Reign are still on top of that team cheer bits leaderboard. And they are. Look at it.
So close.
The Atlanta Reign at
I
the
can
top.
believe
Hangzhou
things.
at number 2. The NYXL have crawled up to number 3. Rounding out our top
Yo.
5, we got the Texas team, the Houston Outlaws, and the Dallas Fuel. The Paris Eternal ringing in at number 10.
It was Shanghai yesterday. What's going on?
Really? Was
It's
it?
a
Things change.
tough
What is
fight,
going
that
on?
spot.
In our Twitch cheer bits. Oh, wait. Blackish Bobby. He's back at number 6.
Yeah.
He's back. This is the first time I've been on the desk, and I've seen
Well,
him back.
he's been here all week. On,
Really?
Yeah, sitting comfortable on number 6.
That's what's up. Rock Norris, I see you, bro. I see you at number 7.
I'm pretty sure there's a huge amount of movement with this leaderboard every day, but then right towards the end of the day, it just solidifies in the same order that it always
our
has.
regulars come back.
Yeah.
Our regulars come back.
Or we
man. I
just
love
look
it.
at the exactly same board and we just don't
Meta
notice
is-
because we don't remember. I don't know. It could be.
We appreciate the regulars. We appreciate everybody. Thank you guys so much. But guys, speaking of Twitch, be sure to get your Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch, because coming up right after Watchpoint, you won't want to miss a live Q&A with the man himself, Daco from the Atlanta Reign, exclusively with that All Access Pass on Twitch. But guys, that's going to do it for us here at Watchpoint. We've been here for dang near 12 hours, and we're ready to go home. So stay tuned for Daco's Q&A. But until then, we'll see you guys all tomorrow. Peace.
I need food.
Yeah, you don't need to stir it, honestly. That's a lot.
Oh
You usually
my
put
God.
that on something.
No.
Oh, okay. That's quite a bit. It's an intense flavor,
Oh my
but it's delicious.
God.